Hey, comic fans, this is Ravi the Every Roll already speaking once again. Welcome to my show, welcome to my channel. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Click on the notification button for obviously any forthcoming notifications. This particular video is about Thor Love and Thunder. Honestly, I have to say, I underestimated this movie. I really thought that based on the reviews that came over on Rotten Tomato and just general customer reviews, that this movie wasn't going to be a success. And to be honest, it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would be. And actually, it was a far better movie. Probably one of the better MCU movies that I've seen. Definitely in the style of Taika Waititi as we've come to know and love. There's a huge comedic undertone. I wouldn't even call it an undertone. It was predominant throughout the movie. It didn't feel like the Thor movies of the past. It's very much a similar tone to what Ragnarok was all about. I still think Ragnarok is better, largely because of the casting and the storyline. This particular storyline wasn't too bad, to be honest with you, and I thought that having Natalie Portman rejoin the Thor franchise would have effectively been a bit of a handicap, but actually, it played itself well throughout the rest of the movie. You kind of felt like, why are we extending an olive branch to this person to come back, or this character to come back into the movie, and it all makes a lot of sense because you kind of think to yourself in the background, Thor has kind of progressed quite extensively without you, and suddenly you've cemented your spot back in. But yes, it ties in very well with the Mighty Thor storyline, reduced within a 2 hour, 10-minute time frame, of course. But there's a lot of gaps that were addressed or filled that we kind of picked up on from Thor Ragnarok, where, you know, Jane Foster, she was in Thor the Dark World as we remember, and suddenly she just vanquishes. We know that she was getting some sort of clinical help there on Asgard, but we don't really see much of her. I mean, we see a glimpse of her in Avengers Endgame as well back in 2019, where just before that Renee, oh, what is Thor's mom's name? I always forget her. Renee. Let's call her Renee for now. This is gonna bug me now. Renee Russo, of course. Renee Russo. What am I saying? So Renee Russo obviously played Thor's mom, and just before that, there was a scene where we saw Natalie Portman kind of like on a surgical table or operating table, just getting some form of medical treatment done. But very good to see her back. She added a bit of character. Very good to see Kat Dennings back, reprising a role, of course, from the previous or the first two Thor movies. Because, of course, with Ragnarok, there was no way of actually putting in the movie at all. But it was just good to see them rekindle that relationship, get it back to its grassroots level, if you will. And it kind of matured itself towards the very end of the movie. I won't spoil it too much for you. I should have probably said the spoilers ahead, but I'm not going to do that. I recommend it to all to go and watch the movie. The big thing for me, though, the biggest takeaway from this movie was Christian Bale's portrayal of Gore the God Butcher, and as I expected, he executed it brilliantly. He's my favorite actor, bar none. The man deserves an Oscar at some point. Obviously, not for this particular performance, but as Gore, he was just brilliant. He was absolutely fantastic. I just wish there were a couple of things. One, I need to see more FaceTime from Gore the God Butcher. I felt too much was invested in Asgard. Too much time was invested in Natalie Portman's character, Dr. Jane Foster. More time should have been given to Gore the God Butcher. They certainly started the movie very well, where they go through the particulars or his background as to why he is the way he is, which is awesome. But I would have loved to have seen him kill more gods because he's Gore the God Butcher, right? We need to see that. And we saw that obviously in the very beginning where he took down Apollo. I wouldn't say relatively quickly, but wielding a sword, he eventually got, and he actually just struck him down, which is awesome. But I would love to have seen much more from him. Because it was kind of like a missing piece in this whole thing. I was actually looking more forward to seeing Christian Bale back in a comic book franchise, back in a comic book movie, for the first time since The Dark Knight Rises, which is actually over 10 years ago. How crazy is that? You think Christian Bale will ever be Batman again? I don't know. I would love to see it. Maybe a Batman multiverse? I don't know. Who knows? But great movie. In my opinion, it deserves a 7 out of 10. Fantastic score, fantastic soundtrack, great casting. I'm a little bit appalled that Russell Crowe had a very quirky Greek accent, and obviously he played the role of Zeus, so it's kind of expected. But he still played it relatively well, a bit campy, a bit comical. I expected a little bit more of a gladiator like vibe from him, but I didn't quite get that. Well, definitely, I think nobody will really get that. But other than that, I think the casting overall is fantastic. There is a cameo at the end, so please stick around to watch both of them. There's two, one mid-credit scene, one at the very end of the actual movie. But definitely worthwhile to watch. I would say worthwhile to watch it at the theater itself. Don't wait for it to come out on Disney Plus. I anticipate it'll probably be there in early September. But be that as it may, it'll be fantastic. And what's also superb about this particular story is that there's no real connection or emphasis to the rest of the MCU timeline. Yes, we get to see quite a bit of New Asgard and stuff like that, but there's no reference point to the last Avengers movie in particular. There's no connection to Dr. Bruce Banner. This is purely a Thor movie. You know that from the get-go. Sure, the Guardians play a significant role in the beginning of the movie, but they eventually go off on their own adventure, which I think will very well tie in to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. A fantastic production, Taika Waititi, great casting, as I said before, great score. Definitely worth a see, definitely a good date night movie. And Thor got seriously ripped for this movie again, so definitely a worthwhile watching this particular show. Otherwise, folks, that's it from me. Please, again, like and subscribe. And I'll be producing a few more videos in a short while. But otherwise, stay safe, stay cool, and keep watching Mzansi Comic Club content. Take care.